Kia ora. This program is brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Get your voice heard.
Homegrown is a creativity and wellbeing program for women who are in the justice system. Homegrown is building a community that values lived experience and supports women to take space for ourselves and find ways of sharing our stories through different art forms. This audio journey has been crafted with love by the Homegrown Collective. We created this podcast to control our own narrative, to tell our own stories, to be who we are on our own terms. Each episode you will hear more about the work we do and the community we are building. Ha ki roto, ha ki waho, ha ki roto, ha ki waho. No mai ngā hua, no mai ngā pai, no mai kia nui, kia hāwere ai. Welcome all things that have grown, welcome all things that are good. May they be plentiful and abundant.
This week, the amazing Roseanne is going to talk about finding her voice through creative writing, working with Homegrown. She's been part of the Homegrown whānau since 2019, and recently she just completed a fellowship with Arts Access Aotearoa. One of the amazing things about Roseanne's journey was not only did she take herself through the experience of finding her voice, she worked with all 11 of her children to talk about what does it mean to be public after you've been through the justice system.
Best on offer. Held loosely between my fingers, effortlessly gliding across the page. To whom it may concern. That would be you, Mr. Bossman, at least in most cases. But anyway, the head honcho, bigwig, you who has the power to make the decisions, approve the moolah. Thank you for the opportunity to sincerely express my gratitude and appreciation for supporting a life-changing project. Not sure if it's directly to you or more suitably to those on the ground who daily witness the struggles, tap into what is really needed, bend their ear, their knee, and sometimes interpretation of the rules to truly get what needs to be done, make it happen, genuinely fill a need. But yeah, I guess thanks for listening to them and signing it off. My hand cramps under the flow of thoughts, gasping to reach the page. This has been the space that has allowed me the permission to freely celebrate and explore myself through my creative expression, the best you currently have on offer. Not your run-of-the-mill, battery-farmed, spoon-fed, shoved down my throat, fly-by-night, wash a toilet and you may gain some insight project. Your usual whatever you can dredge from the pits of unchanged fryer-dripping depths. This project right here is my opportunity going forward. Real movement. Thank goodness for the ability to edit my thoughts from what actually meets the ball of this point. Do you even recognise Mr., Ms., Mrs., woman, man, that you finally got it right? Even more so, the impact of the knowledge that I as a woman, matriarch, mother, grandmother, sister, daughter, niece, will share and pass within my family. I would also like to congratulate you on your ability to truly understand and connect with me in my personal journey of discovery through your selection of this project. There had to be a plug somewhere. Those warm, fuzzy feelings, sugar-coated enough to almost, not quite, but almost cause a diabetic coma. It is my truth, but I doubt you'll relate to me. But look for you. Pfft. Whatever happened to your buzzwords of contribution and collaboration? I think I just threw up in my mouth a little. Nope, that's just me showing my dramatic flair. It's all about creativity in the arts. Warm regards, project participant. Not really warm. And actually, this is my heartfelt blessing and acknowledgement to the bulb and filament, the incandescent conduits, you who provided the platform. I sincerely believe that women deserve to explore and exhale in a space that embraces and imbues creativity, where the spirit transitions into flesh and allows the impetus for a life-changing shift. Had Homeground not been here, I don't think I would have explored my creative writing. I would never have got into even figuring out the process of writing a poem, how I do it, break it down, what environment I write best in, where the words come from. Because I think before Homeground I just thought, yeah, I'm not bad at writing, but now I actually think the words come out, but in order for them to be placed in the right spaces and places, I now I'm more intentional, that's the word. So in order to write the words in the right places and spaces, I'm more intentional with their placement or how I'm saying something, as opposed to previously, I just blat it out of my mouth and that's what goes on the paper. But there's nothing, there's no emotion in it, or there's no sense of me wanting to create emotion from those words, or a feeling or a sense. Yeah, because I think previously I was dumping.
Okay, yeah.
And I often used to do these pro and con lists and just dump them all in these pro and con lists. These are all the good things and these are all the ugly things. But now I'm more intentional about the words that I write. I'm just not dumping out my feelings. I'm thinking about why I'm feeling that way, or what I've heard, smelt or seen, and what emotion that's creating in me, to then be intentional about the words I write down. Whereas before it was just like I didn't care what I was feeling, how I was feeling. I just wanted to dump it all out, which can be quite ugly. Not a nice place to be, because then you sit in this, just like when you dump on people, it's quite a selfish process, because you're just spewing all over the place without much thought. But I think when it's intentional, it really, really hits differently. The fellowship was an opportunity for me to explore my creative process. So I got a $10,000 grant, I guess it's called, that allowed me to do a number of things. First was meet with my family, bring them together here in Wellington, and to discuss the impact of the justice system on them, so that they would feel comfortable with me being so public, and for not only, I guess, for friends and family and people that are connected, work colleagues, for them to be able to know how to deal with, your mum's a crim, or your mum's a jailbird, did she do time? Is that they needed to feel that they could, have control of that conversation, so that it didn't feel like they were being attacked, but that it was a part of my life, which compared to the rest It's actually 7 months of my 53 years. It's and it happened, and before the fellowship there was a lot of shame around it for me and my family, but because through the fellowship and that grant we were able to come together as a family here in Wellington, discuss, unpack, create, draw, write, use a creative process to work through how each individual, and not only my 11 children but my siblings, my in-laws, how they felt about, one, what happened when I was convicted, and two, how to get past or how to feel safe with the shame that other people create. And then I was able to also do the same with my family in Samoa, because my parents live in Samoa, but my siblings, me and my children, and my partner Yeremia live here. And so through that, we took some support letters that everybody had written to the judge. All 11 of my children, siblings, in-laws, parents, colleagues, and we just took the family portion of them, and each individual responded to their support letter from 6 or 7 years ago and reflected on that support letter. And so they drew pictures, put together photos of the time to show that I was not in the photo. When their child was born, I was not allowed to be there. Some wrote poems. One did a interview with themselves. One did a podcast, like a little, I guess, an interview. Yeah, everybody did different forms of creative forms of how they felt. Graphic design, somebody drew a picture. There were lots of different ways. Sorry, the pause is there because I'm trying to go through each of these, it's like 11 children, and then their partners, and then my siblings, and then my parents. I'm just trying to remember, am I missing anything, any form out? Photography that anybody used creatively to respond to their support letter. But there were lots of tears. There were a lot of tears. But I guess tears come with cleansing too. They're not all doom and gloom. So I think that before I did the fellowship, I was really protective of some of the words I shared because they were so personal to me and personal to my family. But now that I've had the opportunity to unpack how, as a family, we felt going through the justice system and the impacts to individuals at whatever age they were then, and unravel that so that they're comfortable with it now. I basically write about anything I feel like, whatever comes to mind. I can even write things about my mother that I probably would never have thought to put on paper, but now I'm good with it. It's like, okay, that's how I'm feeling. I control those words. She may not receive them the same way I've written them, but that's the way I feel. And maybe she doesn't get to read them, but now I can go places with my words where I wouldn't have before, but be able to, because I think before when I learnt to write and not just dump, then it was that I didn't want to touch on family or go too deep because I didn't know how to come out of the spiral. But now, having done the fellowship, having got advice from Tusiata, I now know how to come out of that place and space where it's all really dark and dank and I don't have to stay there. I don't have to sit in that place. I can leave it there and I can walk away. That doesn't define how I'm going to feel that day or that week or whatever. That's at that place and time in that moment. That's how I felt.
And can you articulate how you are able to come out of that space? Is it literally just a matter of saying you're leaving that there, or is there a little process or ritual? Or?
Yeah, I think my process is that, for example, if I've had a really emotionally stressful day and I just and I'm feeling quite dark about that day, I allow myself to feel the darkness. I write the words that I'm feeling, like to describe the way I'm feeling, and then it's almost like, you know, that some people do the ritual of they write on a piece of paper, then they screw it up or they burn it and let it go. For me, to write that darkness or that depth on paper is the release. So then I've gotten rid of it, or I've gotten it out of the places I didn't want it in me, and it's on the paper, and I just step away. It's as simple as stepping away. And I think, too, because it's that whole intentional thing. I know that I am intentionally going to let it go. I'm going to release that. And, yeah, I think it's also partially surrender, because I surrender those words to the paper, and then I step away. And I think as soon as I turn my back, it's gone. I just let it flow off. It doesn't really... Yeah, and I didn't think it was going to be that easy. But it was. It was easy. I was like, no, and I cry. Sometimes when I write, I'm crying, and I'm full of tears, and I hate the world and all drama and tears, but let it go. Surrender to whatever I'm feeling, and then, hello world, I got my happy face on now. The foundation is built, called by the past, wrapped in the hope of tomorrow. The whare, it grows, wings spread, touching tips of shared sorrows, breaking falls, supporting walls. Each door bears a burden to be unlocked by keys of lost opportunity, closed shut, leading to new beginnings. I think in terms of sharing, if I know the reasoning behind the words, like if I'm, for example, writing about my mum, and I'll say, forever a control freak and seldom meek, I have to ask myself, it's that whole intentional thing, if my mother reads this, how is she going to feel? And is it, but because I like the way it's written, do I then have to change my mother to she? Instead of personalising it to her. And then if she reads it, chances are if the person that I'm writing about reads it, they know it's about them, but I haven't really identified them. Yeah. So, yeah. Because I have done that in a few of the poems I've written. Just not named the person. But then family members that have read the poems know who it's about. So then it's up to that person, if however they receive it, however they interpret it, that's on them. Because I didn't necessarily write it about them. I put she, not my mother, or my sister, or my auntie. Yeah. And I think it was Tusiata that gave me a really good tip to just write it all out, say it all. Because I have to remember there's the edit. There's always the edit.
Yeah.
And that's when I can say, how will this affect somebody else? Do I have to change a name, words, place, to make it a little bit more anonymous but still stay true to the feel of the poem? It's called May It Please. In a realm where justice's tapestry is torn, where whispers of a broken system are born, we seek to decolonise its age-old frame, to review the meaning of punishment's fiery flame. May it please the court, let us explore anew the essence of justice, pure and true, beyond the confines of a flawed design, to foster compassion, to truly refine. May it please my child, the purpose of punishment let us perceive, not as retribution, but to believe in a justice that seeks to reform and heal, to nurture souls, to help them reveal. May it please my family, a justice system steeped in colonial strife must transcend its wounds, the scars of life, embrace the principles of fairness to ignite a transformation, shedding darkness, embracing light. May it please the hordes, reparation, rehabilitation in our sight as we navigate through justice's might, addressing systemic flaws, a crucial tasking to create a future that we may bask in. Decolonise the pillars that hold it firm, amplify voices, let unheard souls affirm that justice, when purged of bias and vice, can foster harmony and pay its rightful price. Let us envision a world where justice flows, not confined by chains, nor coloured by shadows, a tapestry woven with threads of compassion, where punishment finds purpose in true ration. May it please the court, let us embrace the journey to transform, to erase the broken echoes of a flawed design and usher in justice, radiant and divine. Check out our social media on homegroundnz.com with links to our Facebook, YouTube and Instagram.
That program was brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Get your voice heard. Thanks New Zealand On Air for funding accessmedia.nz.